Hello again! It is me once more. I'm doing another one of these videos because I really liked recording this stuff for the me and my shadow director's cut. I'm doing air quotes right now, but you can't see that. I don't know why I even did air quotes. I'm by myself in this room. Quick thing before I really get started. If you hear small children like screaming and laughing during this, it is because our next door neighbors have 5 kids that just moved in, and they are very loud. So I'm sorry, I can hear them. I don't know if the recording's picking up on this. So if it isn't, then just ignore this part. But if you can hear the kids yelling from next door, I'm very sorry. They like to come outside my window and just yell at each other. Like, they make the conscious effort to go from their backyard to our driveway and just stand outside my bedroom window and yell at each other and play, and I wish they'd do that in their driveway, but they don't. So okay, that's out of the way. Yeah, this first storyboard is a Freakazoid one. I mentioned this in the me and my shadow director's cut, air quotes again, because I called it that because I was making fun of how unimportant it is. But I don't know if that joke came across. I mentioned in that video anyway that Freakazoid is my favorite TV show. It is not the best show. I have seen better shows. I wouldn't even recommend it to people unless it, like, that your interests hit a very specific niche that this show hits. But it's my favorite. It helped me out at a tough point in life. And yeah, I just love it a lot. And it is actually my my big dream in life to work on a reboot of the show. Probably never gonna happen because no one's seen this show. And again, even if they had, it's not that great. I love it. It's not great. It is dumb fun, and that's why I like it. But I think if you took a video that I want to make at some point in the future is just my ideas for what a Freakazoid reboot would look like if you were trying to like do it in this era of mid-season status quo changes and stuff like that, and make it something like really good that people would want to watch now. And yeah, because I have a lot of ideas for that. But I'm gonna start talking about the actual storyboard that you're watching right now. It is Dungeons and Dragons, and this whole scene was based on an actual Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I was a part of a couple years ago, where it was just me and a couple friends, and one kid in our group was like, he would get really into it, let's say that. He once threw a stick into a lake, and we ended up fighting a mutated alligator that was way over leveled for like 3 hours, just because he did that. And that's what this scene is. I just took that interaction with my friends and I attributed it to these characters, because I thought it fit really well. And that same kid, he once got really frustrated while we were playing D&D, and he threw a chair in the real world. He got out of his chair, and he threw it, and we didn't invite him to D&D anymore after that. I don't play D&D. Like, I used to be in my school's D&D club, I used to play with my friends, but I don't like the combat aspect of it, like, just a personal preference thing. All my friends really love it. I like the camaraderie aspect of it, but I'm just not into the battles, because I always play like a diplomatic elf or something who can't fight. Maybe I'd like it more if I played a barbarian or something, I don't know. But I never have, so I don't play D&D, really. But I have D&D experiences, so that's what this board is. This board took about 10 hours, I think. It took the longest out of all the boards that you are going to see today. I have included 4 boards, the last 4 boards that I did after the me and my shadow thing. And I'm going to leave timestamps in the description of this video in case you're, like, not at all interested in me talking about this Freakazoid one, but you want to hear about the Portal one that I did. Or the My Brother and Me ones. I'm just gonna... I'm saying this out loud so that I will remember to do that and hold myself accountable. So, talking more about this board, okay, I had a hard time drawing Steph. She's the girl. I don't know why. Dexter and Freakazoid, I draw them all the time. Like, I haven't actually sat down and watched the show in a long time, but I just default to drawing these characters sometimes because I think they're so fun to sketch. But I don't do that with Steph or Cosgrove or Roddy at all. And I knew what Steph looked like, so I didn't, like, look up references, really. I had to look up references for Roddy and Cosgrove, which is why they look pretty on model. Steph changes, like, every frame, and I hate it. I have a character like that in all of my things, where they just change every time I do a different drawing. Their whole look. And, what else can I talk about? There is something I want to talk about, but it's not going to be on the screen for another second. I'm proud of the table continuity in this. I know that's weird to say, but I spent a lot of time being like, okay, the Fanta's here, where's the board, where are all the pieces on the little board that they have? And I just spent a long time doing that, and I think it looks cool. I like how it turned out. This is the shot I want to talk about. If you've seen Freakazoid, you know that whenever Dexter does the freak out thing, they did a different animation for each time, and, like, sometimes it would be a joke, sometimes it would just be like, poof, he's there. My favorite one was, like, Freakazoid Dexter just melts into a puddle, and then he pops back up and he's Freakazoid. I love that. So with this one, I want to do, like, a fun one. I didn't want to just do a poof and he's there. So I had, like, his whole body twist around, and when it comes back around to, like, the front, it's the Freakazoid suit. Just because I'm honestly surprised that the actual show didn't ever do that transformation at some point, because, like, it's the easiest one to think of, honestly. Like, I wouldn't have thought of the melting thing, but I thought of this, and I'm not exactly creative, so... No, I like how this shot turned out, though. I think it's neat. Just, don't think about the logic of how he'd be able to do that spinning maneuver while sitting down. Just don't think about that. Something else I wanted to talk about, right, I'm just rambling and remembering things that I had planned to talk about. The reason I gave Dexter a wizard hat, I honestly just initially did it because I thought it was a fun little character thing. Like, he's so excited to get his crush and his 2 father figures over to play D&D with him. And he has this campaign planned out, and he's so into it, and he's having so much fun with a little wizard hat. And I just thought that was a nice little character thing that, like, he never gets to play D&D with anybody, so when he does, he goes all out and he gets a little wizard hat so that he can be a good DM. But also it ended up being, like, a good practical choice for making this shot look better, because the transition from Dexter's short hair to Freakazoid's long hair would have been a lot more awkward without the hat, I noticed as I was drawing it. So I wish I'd made the hat black, too. Like, if I'd just gone back in and colored the hat black, it would have been an even easier transition on the eyes, but I didn't do that. So, just know that if this were to ever actually be animated, which it won't, I will not animate it. You can't make me. The hat would be darker. Shout out to that Chaps cameo. I think that was from Steven Universe. Chaps is from some cartoon. I think it's Steven Universe, yeah. Yeah, I just put that in there. I don't care. So, the reason that Cosgrove is just constantly eating in this one is first of all, that was my role in D&D. I was the snack hoarder when I did play with my friends. I just have snacks all the time, and I thought that would be a little character trait I could transfer over to Cosgrove from my real life experience playing D&D. Because he seems like Dexter would invite him to do this, and he doesn't really want to, but he wants to be there for his surrogate son. And then Dexter's like, I'll have chips. And he comes. And it would be, I don't know, I just like that fun little character thing. So, I've finally been getting into the McElroys during this quarantine. I listen to so much My Brother and Me a day now. Like, I never had time before. I never liked podcasts before we were stuck at home. And now I love listening to the advice podcast for the modern era. I love all of it. This clip is from Monster Factory, though. So I don't know why I'm even saying this stuff yet. I should save it for when I'm actually storyboarding the My Brother and Me bit. But the whole premise of this board was I wanted to see how quickly I could get one done. That was it. And yeah, it took 3 hours and 11 minutes. And most of that time was spent on this shot, the backpack for his applesauce, that one. And it's the one that I like the most. I actually really love the way this shot turned out. I think I did a good job of portraying the bouncy movement. And the rest of it doesn't look that great, because I was just like, oh, I spent so much time on this one shot. I don't want to spend that much time on the rest of it, because then my whole like premise of doing this will not have been a thing. And so I sat down to do this, and I was like, okay, I'm only going to give myself one day. So this was 3 hours spread across one day. And the backpack for his applesauce bit, I think just by itself took like half that time that I spent on the total thing. Maybe even more than that, I don't know. And you might notice that if you're watching this video that the audio quality on it is awful. I butchered it when I was saving it to my iPad somehow. I don't know how I managed to do it. When I used the exact same technique when I was saving the Wheatley audio to my iPad so that I could make that storyboard, and it didn't sound like that. I don't know what I did. The video that I used as the source for this audio did not sound that way, but no one's pointed it out, so I guess I'm in the clear. I guess I'm fine. I guess no one noticed that the audio quality is bad. Something else, I'm sure people have noticed, but that they're just too kind to say anything, that the protagonists, I guess, of all these storyboards, they look like the same man. Dexter, Griffin, and Human Wheatley all look remarkably similar to Stanley from my Me and My Shadow storyboard, and I'm thankful that no one has said anything about that in my comments, because I would cry. But my reasoning for that is, after I do like a storyboard that takes me a really long time, that one took like a week and a half, I'm just always trying to like, when I sketch, I default to sketching that. So I've just been defaulting to sketching Stanley for like a month now. And having characters who look exactly like him is helping with that, and helping me keep doing projects that are technically different. Like here, you can see that I drew Griffin with the 3 little hair tufts that Stanley had. I should stop calling him Stanley, because it was confirmed that his name was originally going to be Shadow Dan. But like in the actual movie, that was his name. I took the Wikipedia at face value. I shouldn't have done that. So yeah, all the names in that video are wrong, by the way. I don't think anyone cares, but I've been feeling pretty bad about it, so I'm also not gonna fix it, because that's like, my most viewed video in the least amount of time on my channel ever, I think. And I don't want to re-upload it. That'd be bad. So, we are officially in the case of the Mondays bit now. I didn't say anything because I was too busy rambling about something else, I'm sorry. But, I wanted to play around with camera angles in this one. I remember that was, like, my goal. Each one of these had a goal. That's what this one's goal was. Like, I want to do something cool with the camera angles and the cuts and stuff. And, I don't think I really succeeded. I think the cuts in the part where Griffin's freaking out about Jimmy Buffett, I think that's pretty good. I don't think my camera angles are anything special, though. The shot, I was trying to set up a joke that I'd thought of by, like, oh, Justin's house, he's saying that, like, oh, he just wants to live on island time for a day, but his room is just, he's got a fake palm tree in the corner, a beach ball on his desk, and, like, all this stuff. It's, like, it's very clear that he doesn't want to just have beach time for a day. This beach time is his life. Like, what would really drive that home is that in the, Griffin's freakout bit, my original idea was to have it be, like, a slow zoom out to his room, which is just covered in anti-Jimmy Buffett paraphernalia. But, I realized that I don't know what anti-Jimmy Buffett paraphernalia looks like. If you are an artist, I highly recommend getting friends who do not care about anything you do, because you can message them questions like, I'm trying to fit a joke into a video, and I don't know which one I should go with. Should I go with Lover of Women, Tormentor of James Buffett, or I Will Not Be Wasting Away in Margaritaville? And they will answer you honestly, because they don't know how to lie and, like, spare your feelings. They'll say, Lover of Women, Tormentor of James Buffett, because I like Man Beast, and that'll be what you go with. So, I highly recommend that experience. Just find friends who do not care what you do, and they will answer everything honestly. And they will tell you that I Will Not Be Wasting Away in Margaritaville is not a very funny tagline to put on a poster, as related to Jimmy Buffett. But I ended up not using either of those, because I ended up not doing the anti-Jimmy Buffett paraphernalia thing. And, I'm kind of sad, because Lover of Women, Tormentor of James Buffett, I think that's probably the funniest thing I've ever come up with. It's just a great phrase. You should all start using it. And, I had it, so, in, like, the background of Justin's house, like, he's got the posters on the wall, and, like, one of them is the Shrimp and Ain't Easy one, and another is, like, just the cover of Margaritaville. There was a third one that got kind of obscured, and it was the one that I wanted to be the most visible, so, it's a picture of Jimmy Buffett with, like, anime filters over his eyes and cheeks, so it's like he's an anime girl who's blushing. And I'm gonna insert a picture of that unedited picture here when I am done, just so that you guys can see, because it's really something special. My friend Abel made it, I think. He's a wizard with Photoshop. You'll make a joke in a voice chat, and then he'll just disappear for like 20 minutes, and he'll come back without any warning and just show you something terrible. And I love my friends, guys. I love friends, because they do stuff like that. My friend Abel also once jumped off a bed for me and took a picture of it so that I could draw a dynamic pose. And that really shows you what lengths he's willing to go to. What a great friend. Thank you, Abel. He's not gonna watch this. He doesn't care. None of them care, and that's great. I know that Griffin's room is very bare in this part. And all of it. I didn't have the energy to give him a complicated background, because I decided to get rid of the anti-Jimmy Buffett stuff so that I could focus on the quick cuts to show, like, his descent into madness during this part. But, yeah, literally the only thing that he has in his room is a my brother, and me poster. And I think that's funny in a different way, but God, I wish I'd been able to keep Lover of Women, Tormentor of James Buffett. I'll regret that for the rest of my life, that I didn't put that in here. Um, I remember I did like half of this in one sitting. So like I think everything after Manana by Jimmy Buffett, I did all of that at once. So you can see near the end here I'm getting kind of lazy. I'm just I'm not wanting to work on it anymore because I reached a point with almost all of my boards where I'm just like I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else. I want to play Pokemon. I don't I don't want to draw Justin in a Happy Taste Good shirt. Uh, you know what I should have done? I should have put Lover of Women, Tormentor of James Buffett on Griffin's shirt, because I didn't put anything on his shirt. He's got a blank shirt in this. I should have done that. Why didn't I do that? God. Alright, we are now in the Portal one. Last one. Woo! I've been getting into Portal during this, like, the last week. uh, a lot of artists that I follow have been drawing Portal stuff a lot more lately, and I was like, you know, I think I'm gonna check it out, because it's not like I have anything else to do right now. And yeah, I love it. I haven't actually bought the game yet. My Steam wallet is very empty right now. I'm hoping to find a way to get it soon, though, so that I can actually play it. But I watched a bunch of cutscenes, and this part was easily my favorite thing and that I saw from it. Just Wheatley's flashlight. I love it so much. It's so funny. And I thought, you know, this would be a bit that would actually, I think, be even funnier than if it was the robot Wheatley, because it implies, I know I used this in the description of that video, so just bear with me, you're gonna hear the same joke twice. It implies that Aperture told a human being that if he were to turn a flashlight on, he would spontaneously combust or something, and I love that a lot. I love that idea, just the idea of that happening. So I made this. I remember when I was first looking into Portal stuff, I was like, okay, I'm not going to ever draw a human Wheatley, because I just, what's the point? The point is that he's a robot. Why would you make him a human? I don't get it. And then I heard him speak, and it was like, oh, I understand now. I understand. You know that thing I said about how every character I draw in these storyboards, like, there's one that kind of changes around a little bit every time. That's Shell. That's Shell this time. There are several shots where I just completely forgot to draw her lips or something. Yeah. She's very off model. I didn't draw her that much before I started this. I drew Wheatley a little bit, so he's a little more consistent. Still not great. Eventually, I have, like, a few projects that I have in the back of my head that are, like, on standby, where I don't currently think that I'm at a skill level to do them, or I don't have the energy to do them right now, because they'd take so long if I were to try and do them. But, Wheatley's Betrayal is one of the ones where, like, I don't think I'm good enough to do that yet, and also, I don't think I have just the strength. So, Wheatley's Betrayal, I want to do that eventually. I'm not going to do it right now. Don't wait for that to be, like, the next upload or whatever, because it won't be. I think that, so, I'm just going to use this time to talk about other things I want to do. If I ever figure out how to draw motorized vehicles, I want to do, like, a storyboard for Jenny Nicholson's Cars Land a bit. If you've seen Jenny Nicholson's videos, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, go to YouTube, search up Jenny Nicholson Cars Land, and it's not an isolated clip that I could find anywhere, but if you go through the comments on the top video result, there will probably be, all of the comments are about Cars Land. They'll point you in the direction. A project that I'm probably going to get started on, like, really soon is I have this comic idea that I want to get done before Halloween. So I've tried making comics before and it's never worked out because I'm not good at comic layout, but I really like this idea, and it's a short comic, like probably not more than 20 pages long. So I really want to get that done by Halloween of this year. So that's going to be a bit of a time crunch if I don't get started soon. So I think that that's going to be my next project. I'm not sure though. I'll let you guys know on my Instagram, plugging that at the Spud with the Eyes. So I hate the colors in this storyboard, especially this part where like I wanted to show that the lights were getting shut off one by one, but first of all, I didn't sync the sound up right, so it doesn't look like that. And second, it just makes like the colors look really washed out and gross because of the lights. I did like Gaussian blur on the lights so that they look like they were actually lights. And I think it's a decent effect in all but that shot. So the reason it looks gross, aside from that, is that I tried to have not just grayscale, I tried to have a little bit of blue tint in all of my colors here, because all my videos look really samey. I know that grayscale is industry standard, and that's for the best, but for watchability reasons, I wanted to make it a little less so, even though you can't tell I did that. It just makes that one shot look worse. Oh, okay, I wanted to talk about this. You might have seen very briefly just now a picture of Wheatley, like, gripping his glasses. I was originally going to have him have, like, little headlamps on the corners of his glasses, but it didn't really read. It didn't look very good. So I liked that idea, and I had to get rid of some, like, choreography I had planned. Not choreography, blocking that I had planned for that would only work if he had the headlamps on his glasses. I had this idea where, like, a thing about the human Wheatley design I decided to go with, first of all, is that I wanted him to talk with his head, where, like, he just moves his head around a lot instead of talking with his hands like I usually do. That doesn't really come across here. He still talks with his hands quite a bit, and his head doesn't move around as much as I originally wanted it to. But, I had this idea where, he would, like, spin his head around dramatically and shine his eye lights into Shell's face, and she'd kind of, like, recoil, and he'd realize what he did, and he'd look away very abruptly. And I thought that would be a cool character thing, but it didn't make much sense once I decided to get rid of the eyeglasses that, have lights in them. So, I just wanted to mention that real quick because I liked that, and I'm sad that I had to get rid of it, but you know what, I don't think it made the thing better that I got rid of it. I really hate the second half of this storyboard. I think I framed it in the worst way I could have. This shot that I'm working on right now, I ended up cutting. I like it more in retrospect, but I couldn't figure out how to get this pan up to look good. So, I just had it keep on going as the long shot of them walking through the hallway, even though you can't tell that they're walking. I just put a little note at the top that says, they're walking, trust me. You're gonna have to trust me on this, they're walking. So, I mentioned earlier that, I hit a point in my boards where I just don't want to work on them anymore. This was that point. This part right here, like, at the point where it says walking forward, that was where I was like, I'm done. I think I'm done. I want to be done with this now. I was gonna have him shake his head. You can see here. But, his head, like, facing the other way, it looked real weird. So I had it just, like, he spins his head one direction. So, him talking with his head doesn't come across as much, even though that's a character thing that would have made a lot of sense, because in the game he was just a head. He was just a big ball. Oh well. I'm gonna try and do better when I do Wheatley's Betrayal eventually. And that's all I got for now. Thank you so much for watching. I didn't know what to put in this outro, so I just put in a cleaned up picture of one of the frames from Case of the Mondays. So enjoy that. Please check out the rest of my videos if for some reason you haven't watched the storyboards that were included in this, but you still watch this video anyway. Thank you for being polite and not clicking off the video. But go do that if you want. Alright, I'm gonna go. Bye.